Hi, Cecil Robles here, and welcome to the Forex University video series. Now, let me start off by saying that what you're going to learn here is not overly complex, but it is important that you watch all of the videos, and by the time the 7th video comes around, I've got something extremely special for you, but we've got to cover some ground before we get there, because you've got to learn the basics before we get to the more advanced stuff. Now, I need to take you through the complete process of how I've made my money in the markets and how now my students are making tens and hundreds of thousands and some even millions of dollars now. It's important for you to get the right picture of the markets if you're going to succeed. Now, unfortunately, there's so much garbage out there that it's hard for new traders to really sift through what's real and what isn't. But here's my promise to you that I'm going to give you in this video series. I'm going to be revealing stuff that I've never shared before, because I care about my students' success. I now have students in over 70 countries, and you're going to see firsthand what some of them had been able to do. Also, just so you know, I'm also still learning here. You know, I've been teaching for 7 years, but I started out doing, and I still do this every single day, along with my students that are now alongside of me. Now, you're also going to notice that I'm not the most polished speaker, and these aren't the fanciest videos. You'll probably hear a lot of ums and uhs, and that's because I'm a trader first and a teacher second. I've been trading now for over 10 years, and I've learned a lot of hard knock lessons along the way, and what I'm going to share with you is battle tested. So let's go ahead and dive in and answer the first question here. Why Forex trading? You know, there's a lot of markets out there that you can trade. There's stocks, there's options, there's futures, there's ETFs, and so on and so forth. There's a lot of things that you can do in the markets and in the world to make money. But why Forex trading? Well, they say that a picture is worth 1,000 words, so let me just show you. Here is the private jet of one of my clients. Now, this is the jet parked in the hangar after we flew back from a conference that I was speaking at in Florida, where 250 traders and investors were present. Now, if you would have told me 15 years ago, you know, trading would have given me access to a private jet, I would have called you crazy. But this symbolizes to me where you can go and what your very specific knowledge in trading can do for you and where it can take you. Now, this gentleman right here, he trades over $600,000, and he learned how to trade using the simple methods that I'm going to teach you in the Forex University. Now, I come from a very small town in South Texas and from a lower middle class family, but today I'm the wealthiest person in my family, and it all has to do with trading and the businesses that I operate. But more than that, it symbolizes independence. That's the beauty of trading. It's not about, hey, you know, I've got all this money and I can buy what I want. That's not what life is about. It's about having freedom and independence. And to me, that's a happy life. Even if I didn't make millions of dollars, it's about doing what you love and doing what you want to. And I just so happen to love trading. I happen to love doing this particular business. Now, this is a view from our beach house in Southern California. You know, I like trading from here. I like taking my family here for vacation and time away. We live in Dallas, Texas, but you know, we like to go on vacations all over the world. We've been to Costa Rica. We lived there for a year. I've been able to do that. You know, having that freedom to wake up in the morning, get some coffee, check the market, you know, go surfing, maybe do some lunch on the beach, and then come back and make my final trading decisions for the day. There's just nothing like that. It's freedom. Here's my home in Dallas, Texas, and this is a big step up for me and my wife's first place. You know, a 680 square foot apartment down in Houston, Texas. You know, we now have 5,200 square feet of living space, almost 10 times the living space. But more importantly, our kids are growing up in a great neighborhood where they're building lifelong friendships. They're getting a great education at one of the best schools here in our area. Public school, by the way, but it's still one of the best schools in our area. That's why I bought this place. You know, I'm not superficial. You know, I tell my wife all the time, I could live in a tent in the backyard, but I wanted a good place to raise my family. You know, I'll never forget our first television was a 13-inch TV in our 680 square foot apartment. And we didn't get a new one for the first year of our marriage. But my family and I now, we like to watch movies. And now instead of having to go to the movies, we can just watch them in our own theater, in the comfort of our own home, with our children, with our friends. It's got a full bar. It's got a refrigerator. It's got a wine cabinet. It's got everything in this place. And the beauty of that is, I can invite friends over to watch the football game, the Super Bowl, whatever. But it's important that you enjoy the money you make from trading. And that's what I've endeavored to do. And that's what part of this picture is all about. My wife and I love to travel. In fact, so much so that we moved our entire family to Costa Rica for a year. I was able to visit the entire country. I was able to immerse my family in culture and do some really cool stuff while I was there, all because of the freedom that Forex trading has provided me. And it's both financial freedom and time freedom. That's me right there in the front of that raft right there on the Pequari River in Costa Rica, one of the top 5 rivers in the world to whitewater raft. And I did that river about 3 or 4 times while I lived in Costa Rica for a year. It was a great time. I've been to places all over the world, places like this in Sicily, where actually on this particular trip, I actually made over $54,000 from my Forex business. And so while I was on vacation in Sicily, Italy, enjoying beautiful views like this, eating great food, drinking great wine, visiting great beaches, I was able to make that kind of profit from my Forex trading business. And here's me and one of my students actually turned professional trader in Dubai. That was back several years ago. But, I've been able to go all over the world, and trading has taken me there. Now, here's a quick view of the amount of return my students following me over the last 22 months have earned. A whopping 263% return on investment. That means every $10,000 invested has turned into $36,300. And this is just one of my systems. Now, the beauty is you don't have to have $10,000 to start. In the next video, I'm going to show you that you can start with a very small account and you can build it up very quickly. And I've got a formula that I'm going to give you for doing that. But this particular screenshot here gets a little more detailed about my trading. And as you can see, I win about 57% of the time. The idea that you have to win much more than 50% of the time to make money trading is one of those things that we'll deal with in another video, but it's just not true. And as you can see here, I make on average about $715 per trade, and usually only hold my trades for about 4 to 9 days. And on every trade, I can expect to make about 1% of my account equity. So for every 100 trades, I'm literally doubling my account. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm just trying to place 100 trades. This 138 trades took place over an extended period of time. It wasn't just in 1 month or 2 months or 6 months even, but it took place over more than even a year, almost 2 years. So we're not trading all the time, but we're making good profits when we do trade. And when you combine this with the power of compounding, which I'm going to show you how to do, it's absolutely insane how rich you can become in just a few short years. Now, when you compare this to the performance of the S&P 500 in the same period of time, the S&P performed significantly lower at only 39.97%. Since the year 2000 has only yielded investors about 35%. Now, let me shift gears for a second and show you exactly why and how I've been able to do this in this little known market called Forex. And more importantly, in upcoming videos, I'm going to show you how my students have been able to replicate what I've done. This gives me real fulfillment and joy when I see others able to follow my lead, and some now do even better than me. All right, this is a chart of Intel, a very well-known stock, and this is over the course of 1 year. And over that period of time, you would have seen about a 12.95% return on your investment. But here's the problem. To buy 1,000 shares, you would have had to spend around $25,500, and your stock would currently be worth $27,700. That's a measly $2,200 in a year. That means your money was tied up for an entire year, and you would have had to drop down to about $22,000 as a drawdown during that period of time in order to earn that measly $2,200. Now, sure, the investment didn't lose any money, but the reality is that about 70% of stocks do lose money. Now, when you couple that with the fact that you have thousands and thousands of stocks to choose from, and picking even a mediocre winner like Intel is like finding a needle in a haystack. I've seen a lot of traders' watch lists, and they're just ridiculous to pay attention to that many instruments or that many stocks at one period of time. Now, plus investing this kind of money is just not feasible for many people with a small account. Now, you might be thinking maybe mutual funds or ETFs are the way to go, but let's take a look at the top performers on Morningstar and see what we find when it comes to mutual funds. Now, as you can see right at the very top, the top performer has done about 52% over a 3-year period, but only 18% over a 10-year period. So once again, that's like picking a needle in a haystack. But if you look at the total results for mutual funds on Morningstar.com, down here at the bottom, you can see that there's 29,643 mutual funds to choose from. Now, this is worse than trying to pick a winning stock, right? So mutual funds are not necessarily the way to go. It's going to take you a long time to make any kind of significant money and build up a smaller account. I'm not saying you shouldn't own mutual fund investments. I'm not saying you shouldn't own stock investments, but Forex is a way to take and to have a portion of your portfolio or a portion of your investment capital, put it into a market, and in a very short period of time, you can build it up fairly quickly. Now, what are the advantages of Forex, right? Well, first off, let me tell you what Forex is, because I know not everybody is familiar with the Forex market. I wasn't over 10 years ago when I first got started. I wasn't even aware that there was a market that traded currencies, but that's what Forex stands for. It stands for foreign exchange, and that is exactly what it is. It's the foreign exchange market. And in a nutshell, in Forex, currencies are traded, and they're traded in what we call currency pairs. So essentially, you're trading the Great British Pound against the US dollar, or the Great British Pound against the Canadian dollar, or the US dollar against the Japanese yen, or any number of those combinations. Now, what it would be like if you were trading stocks, or you're familiar with trading stocks, it would be like pitting Google against Apple, right? Only you're dealing with countries and economies. You're dealing with entire economies and countries. Now, one of the reasons why it is much easier to make money in Forex than it is in equities is because currencies historically trend very, very well. And the market is volatile enough that there is plenty of movement to profit from. Also, when you look at like earnings and things like that in stocks, earnings come out every quarter. Information is coming out all the time. Stocks can be very, very volatile. They can be very up and down very quickly. And the reason for that, of course, is because there's a whole lot less volume to trade from. Forex has an enormous amount of volume. As a matter of fact, it's the largest market in the world with over 5 trillion in trading transactions every single day across all currencies. So it's a massive, massive market. Now, Forex is also predictable because of the nature of the Forex market and how it works. There are far less moving parts to track than there are with stocks. Right? Like I said just a minute ago, every quarter or every month or every day, some kind of information is coming out about stocks, earnings, or profit and loss, so on and so forth. This makes Forex much more predictable because there are less moving parts to deal with. Now, in subsequent videos, I'm going to show you why it is so predictable and the parts that you really need to be focused on and paying attention to, but it has to do with the players involved. There's only so many big players involved in the Forex market. Now, some stock analysts will tell you that the Forex is the Wild West and that it is a random market, but that's only because they don't understand it. Now, anything that you don't understand is going to be scary. It's going to be overwhelming, but this is a very simple market with only a few instruments to pay attention to and even fewer major market participants rather. Now, this makes it very, very predictable when you have a sound system in place for knowing where to buy and where to sell. Now, another benefit here, another major benefit to trading Forex is that you can sell a currency just as easily as you can buy a currency. There's no uptick rule. There's no minimum account size for being able to get in and out of the market quickly, right? And you can also trade with a very small account. This is a huge benefit as opposed to stocks where you need a larger amount of starting capital to get in the game. Now, the key to this also is the fact that there is no fixed lot size, meaning that you can still use sound money management principles even with a small account. If you were trading futures, for instance, and you had a smaller account, you'd be limited to just a few instruments that you could trade because you'd need, on some of the contracts, you need a very large amount of money in order to trade, or your risk is going to be very upside down. You're going to be risking all of your money at one particular time. I don't know about you, but I'm not into gambling when it comes to trading my money. I want to actually make smart, sound money management decisions. Getting wealthy from the Forex isn't about rolling the dice or gambling, but about following a very simple but very strict set of rules and systems. Now, this is the beauty of Forex here. There's just not a lot to know or track as opposed to stocks. There's only a few important economic indicators to follow. You know, it's very difficult to value a big company because they may have dozens of products and properties and so on and so forth. But with a currency, there are only a few things that really matter to the appreciation or depreciation of a currency. Things like quantitative easing, which is in our time, in our generation, so to speak, is what is known as money printing, and it's probably the thing that affects the currency market the most in this particular day and age that we're living in. Now, that leads, of course, to interest rates being high or being low. If they're printing more money, then eventually interest rates are going to rise. That's going to affect currency prices. If interest rates are dropping or they're low, that's going to affect currency prices. Now, that also leads to economic growth or stagnation. If interest rates are on the rise and they're high, the economy is going to stagnate. If interest rates are low, it's going to stimulate the economy. It's going to it's going to make people want to invest. It's going to make people want to borrow money, so on and so forth. It's going to make people want to put money into their company, so on and so forth, which is going to lead to job creation or job loss, either one, right? So it's very, very simple to understand. It's not difficult to understand. There's only a few important economic indicators that we need to pay attention to. So how do I specifically trade Forex? You know, people might look at my returns and think that I day trade or that I spend a lot of time doing this. You know, some people think that I'm in and out of the market all day long, like I'm scalping the market. You know, it's tough to make money scalping the market. I've done that in the past, and guess what? I didn't make as much money as most people put on or let on. Most scams put on or let on out there that you're going to make all this money by scalping the market. You're in and out all day. You know, but really, there's a lot of downside to that. You know, I'm not making a lot of trades that just make me a few bucks here and there, right? As you saw in the performance report, I've made about 138 trades over the course of the past 22 months. And on average, I made about $714 per winning trade. Now, I can tell you that I hold some trades for a few days, some trades for a few hours, and some for nearly a month. But on average, I'm in and out of the market within 4 days, right? I only look at the market once per day, and I do a little bit of research each and every week. That's it. In fact, I'm not in the market all day long, right? I look at the charts twice a day. And then I make my trading decisions during those periods of time. There are whole weeks literally that go by that I never take a trade. Now, you know, I can't give it all to you in this first video, but just, you know, I want to give you the basics here. I don't want to overwhelm you and make you think that you have to be in front of your computer screen all day long here, okay? So I'm just going to give you a few things here. But here's one trade that we recently made where every $100 invested turned into around $250. These are the kinds of trades that we focus on. Now, you'll notice the green line here. You also notice the red line. Every trade that I make has a built-in max risk factor. So I know exactly how much I stand to lose if the trade doesn't work out in my favor. And that's really what you want to have in play for you. You want to have an entry that's very clear. You want to have the place where you know the max amount of money you're going to lose is, and you want to have a place where you know what kind of profit target you're looking to achieve. That is key to your success as a Forex trader. Now, here's another trade where every $100 invested turned into $500, okay? Notice this happened over a couple of months, right? This wasn't just overnight. This is one of those longer term trades that we got into. Here, once again, you have a very clear entry point at this green dotted line. You have a very clear risk right here with this red dotted line. And you have a very clear exit point right up here at this green dotted line. That's the way every single one of your trades should be, all right? Now, I can't cover everything in one video, but stay tuned, and I'm going to be showing you exactly how I do what I do and how my students are doing the same. Plus, you're going to learn the ABCs of Forex. You're going to learn everything that's pertinent for you to know to get started. So stay tuned for more videos.